we have heard the overview of Bhagavatam, then how Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Krishna himself, and after that, the whole Bhagavatam we have heard in 1 hour summary of Bhagavatam. And after that, the first canto, second canto, third canto, fourth canto, fifth canto, sixth canto, we have heard. Now we are in the seventh canto. Seventh canto is about Uti, and it has 2 sections. First one is about Prahlada Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu's Uti, first 10 chapters. And the second section is about the mixed Uti, that is Varnashrama Dharma. And in the first section, we have the first part is how Supreme Lord is impartial, equal to all. That we have heard in the last session. The next topic would be the conversation between Sri Prahalada and Hiranyakashipu. That's what we are going to hear. After that would be the teachings of Prahlada Maharaja to the sons of the demon. That's the third. Fourth one would be appearance of Narasimha Dev, prayers of Prahlada Maharaj, and benedictions to Prahlada Maharaj. That's the fourth one. That will be on all of that in the first section. In the second section is Varnashrama. So today we will come to the second topic. What are the conversations between Prahlada Maharaja and Hiranyakashipu? So that's the topic for today. Okay. So in the first topic, we have heard about how Supreme Lord is impartial. There, Sukadeva Goswami was explaining how the Lord is impartial. And in that context, he was saying, giving the example of Narada Muni and Yudhishthira. Because he was talking about Shishupala. How killing of Shishupala was also so impartial and auspicious. How the killing of the Lord also can be impartial and auspicious. In that context, Narada Muni was explaining about the lives of Shishupala, how he came from Vaikuntha, the 3 lives of Jaya and Vijaya. And when Narada Muni was explaining about the first life of those 2 devotees who came for the pastimes here as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, then Narada Muni happens to say that Prahlada Maharaja was a wonderful boy, but Hiranyakashipu is the father and he tortured him. That's when Yudhishthira Maharaja said, "Oh, please, can you tell us more about this Prahlada Charita?" That's when officially the 7th canto is beginning. So all this conversation is Narada Muni telling to Yudhishthira Maharaj. That we have, all that we have heard in the last section. And in the last class, we also have heard how the Prahlada Charita is opening up. The opening scene was like how Hiranyakashipu was really angry that Lord Vishnu killed Hiranyaksha. And then he ordered all his army, the demons, to go kill the cows and brahmanas. And he was determined to kill Lord Vishnu because he wanted to become the enjoyer, controller, and proprietor. So we have heard till there. And now, what did Hiranyakashipu do to achieve his mission? His mission was to become immortal and to kill Lord Vishnu. So what did he do? That we will hear. And then after that, Prahlad Maharaj will enter into the scene. And then we will hear the conversation. Wow, it's not just the conversation. Let Prahlad Maharaj enter into the scene and we will hear from Prahlad Maharaj. So we will go to this part. This is Yeah, we have heard till here. Hiranyakashipu. Hmm? Yeah, we have heard till here. And now Hiranyakashipu. He wanted to go on his mission to do the tapasya and get this boon of being immortal and also kill Lord Vishnu. So Hiranyakashipu, after he consoled his family members, speaking all that philosophy, and after he instructed all his demoniac army to go kill the cows and brahmanas, now he went. He went on his mission. He went to Mandara mountain. And his desire was to become unconquerable with no old age and death, and of course to kill Lord Vishnu. For that, he went to Mandara mountain, and his austerity was unheard. There were many demons, did lot of austerity, but Hiranyakashipu's austerity was unheard. Because he was standing on the toes, on those two toes. Many stood on the toes, many sages stood on the toes in the past. He stood on the toes, hands up, looking towards the sky, not moving. The tapasya began. His tapasya was so fierce that light and fire came from his head. And because of that, all the planets in the Brahmanda, they became hot. With that heat, the rivers and oceans, they got agitated. And the whole globe started trembling. All this atmosphere was disturbed and heated up. So the stars and planets, they were losing their forces to be in the gravity. They started falling apart. And the fire took over and all the directions were ablaze. So much of heat, so much of tapasya. And naturally, when all these planets were are so hot because of his tapasya, and they were trembling, all these demigods, they went to, as usual, to Brahma, and then said, "Oh Brahma, do you see what is happening? Lord Brahma, you are the topmost living being in this Brahmanda, and you are the protector of the Dharma. Look at Hiranyakashipu. He's doing this tapasya so he can occupy your post. And his plan is to do topsy-turvy of everything. You are here protecting Dharma. And you are here to avoid all the pious activities and auspicious activities. But Hiranyakashipu wants to occupy your post and do everything reverse. And that's not going to be good. So, can you please do something about this? Can you please go stop his tapasya?" And Brahma says, "Okay, I will go ahead, deal with it." He comes down on his swan and he comes to the Mandara hill. And from Mandara hill, the chants, he could hear the chants, but he didn't know where that chant was coming from because nobody was visible. Mandara mountain and ant hills. So Brahma was looking around to see where the sound was coming from. Finally, he could make out there was a big ant hill, and from there the sound was coming. Then Brahma could make out that Hiranyakashipu was in that ant hill. Okay. Then Brahma sprinkled water, his water from his kamandala onto that ant hill. And with that, the ant hill, you see that here, the ant hill that fell apart, and only the skeleton was there in the beginning before Brahma sprinkled the water. But with the waters of Brahma, then the Hiranyakashipu, he got this lustrous body. Srimad Bhagavatam describes such great comparisons in Srimad Bhagavatam. Like the fire appeared from the wood, Hiranyakashipu's body lustrously appeared from that anthill. So he was very strong, and of course he was very handsome and lustrous too, because of that divine water that was sprinkled by Brahma. And his strength was so great. And of course, Hiranyakashipu, he opened his eyes when the water of Brahma was sprinkled upon him, and then he offers his prayers. His prayers were like, if you read the Bhagavata, if you do not read the beginning part of it, then you would say, we would think all those prayers are offered to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that. So Hiranyakashipu offers praise to Brahma, saying that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Brahma is the topmost powerful jiva in this Brahmanda. So the topmost post for these demons, it's all about the post, topmost post. So whoever is in that post is the topmost, is the God. So that's how he offers the prayers, Hiranyakashipu. And then Hiranyakashipu asks for the benediction. When Brahma says, okay, you have done so much tapasya that you have conquered me. And that's why I had to come here. So please ask a benediction. This is what Lord Brahma says. Here, we have to know one thing. Any jiva with their austerity can forcibly make any demigod appear. That is the principle of karma kanda. When they do the yajnas, they know how exactly to do the mantra ucharana, how to say the mantras. And the procedural ways of yajnas, this karma kandis, they are not there here now in this age, but in the previous yugas. They know how exactly to follow the procedure, how exactly to say the mantra to make the demigods appear and give the benediction. So it is almost guaranteed. It is guaranteed. If they follow the procedure correctly, demigods should appear and demigods should give the benediction. So in this way, these karma kandis, they think they are, they can actually order the demigods. They can order the demigods with their yajna and with their mantras. So that is fruitative activity. And all the jivas, even Brahma is a jiva, Indra is a jiva, Agni is a jiva, Surya is a jiva. These are all jivas, empowered jivas. So they had to come when the yajna is performed. But Lord Vishnu is not obligated to do so. Lord Vishnu or Krishna. He is not obligated to appear for anybody's tapasya. That's why no demons do the tapasya of Vishnu or Krishna. Lord Vishnu or Krishna, they would appear only when the Lord is pleased, he would appear and he would give the benedictions. That's a major difference. So what does that have to do with us in our bhakti? When we are seeing some auspiciousness in our bhakti, when there is some change in the heart that is happening, when there is some auspiciousness that is happening in terms of the modes, the modes from ignorance and passion, they are going a little bit towards goodness, even a little bit. And even if we are starting to feel naturally any of those Vaishnava qualities, we have to understand that it is only because of the mercy that change is happening within us. It is not because we are chanting 16 rounds or 64 rounds. It is not because we are doing so many services, so much of service. It is not because of anything that we do. It is only because of what we are doing, looking at what we are doing, our eagerness and our sincerity. When the Lord decides to show mercy, that's when the changes happen within us. He's not obligated, but taking pity on us looking at our sincerity. We are not perfect, we are never going to be perfect, but it's only our sincere and consistent attempts. Then the Lord is pleased and He will make the changes happen. So that's why anything in bhakti, even the possibility of chanting 16 rounds every day, even that possibility, how well is the chanting is a different thing. But even that opportunity to take His names so many times for 2 hours is a mercy. And starting from that, everything that is given to us, every opportunity that is given to us, is all simply mercy, 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 and mercy. So we want to be grateful to each bit, every drop of mercy that is being given to us in this bhakti. That makes a huge difference. And this entitlement, I was looking for this word. This is a huge difference. This can bring huge difference in our bhakti. If our mood is gratitude, then if our mood is gratitude, then our bhakti will be more cherishing and will be a smooth journey. But if our mood is entitlement, because I'm doing this, I'm supposed to feel like this, I'm supposed to see this result, I'm supposed to be advanced even a little bit by this time, I'm supposed to be getting rid of this. This is entitlement mentality or fruitative mentality. I'm supposed to be feeling like this. I'm supposed to be getting there, but I haven't gotten there. You see, there's passion in there, fruitative in there, right? Everybody is doing the same bhakti, but with what attitude are we doing? Are we taking every drop in bhakti as prasad, grateful, or are we looking at every step as entitlement and being resentful? This we want to keep it in mind. Yeah. And what is the tattva behind this? Why do we want to keep this in mind? Because this is the reality. Everything in bhakti is mercy. Without the Lord sanctioning it, we wouldn't have gotten whatever little bit we have had till now. So that's why we have to take it as prasad. And that's why we have to be grateful. It's not that we are telling our mind, okay, you have to be. This is the tattva. And that's why. Okay. So, yeah, Brahma is here. He sprinkled the water. And then Hiranyakashipu offers praise and says, okay, now I have this boon to ask from you. Like, I made you appear now. I have this boon asked to ask. And he asks the boon. Okay, I want to be immortal, no death. And he lays down the condition. Not from any jiva created by you, not within the house, not outside the house, not during the daytime, not during the night, not on the ground, not in the sky, not on the ground, not in the sky, and not by any weapon. I should not be killed by any weapon that is living or non-living. Weapon also shouldn't be living or non-living. And he shouldn't be the human being or animal or demigod or demon or snake from the lower planets. Everything. He basically covered almost every living entity in this Brahmanda that is created by the Brahma, right? Secondary creation, and every direction of it, and every possibility between living and non-living. And he also said, I want the lordship over all the living entities and all the presiding deities. Look at that. I want to be the controller. I want to be the lord of everything, everybody that is here. I want to control them and I want to possess them, proprietor over them. And I want all mystic powers. He acts the list. Brahma has to say tadas because he's obligated to do so as a jiva. He's not independent. So he said tadastu, so be it. And Hiranyakashipu, now his atrocities begin. After the Tadastu, his atrocities begin. He was so envious towards Vishnu because that's his mission, right? He conquered all these three worlds, Bhur, Bhuvar, Swaha, all the 14 planetary systems which are divided into three worlds. And he resided in Suraloka, Swarga. And everybody, all the demigods, they had to come and bow down at his feet. Even Narada had to offer him praise. And Hiranyakashipu was always drunk with Somarasa. And everyone was literally worshipping him. It is said that just with the movement of his eyebrows, the demigods would tremble in fear. What a demon, huh? Hiranyakashipu, what an authority. What an austerity, what an authority that he has. Prahlad Maharaj, he says about all these things later. This is Hiranyakashipu, huh? This is his demonic nature. His authority is like that. Just with the movement of the eyebrow of Hiranyakashipu, demigods trembled. That's the position of those demigods. And what's happening to the nature around? The earth was in fear. It was constantly producing the grains, even without plowing the earth. And the cows were pouring out milk. And the outer space, Antariksha, all the beautiful decorative phenomenon was happening always for his pleasure. Yeah. And all the ocean rents and rivers, they were just giving out the gems and jewels that were there within them. And all the valleys in this both Bhumandala, Swarga, everywhere, all the valleys, they became the fields of pleasure of Hiranyakashipu. The trees and plants, regardless of whatever season it is, they just gave fruits and flowers all the time. All, including the directions and the elements in the Brahmanda, are fearful. And whatever his wish was, it was happening. Yeah. And in this way, he controlled all the directions. He controlled all the demigods. He controlled all the directions. But he wasn't still satisfied because his senses were not controlled. Yeah. Just pausing here. How much control we try to bring. So miniature are we, but still, how much controlling tendency do we have? And we try to control situations around, people around, so many things around, right? When we observe our controlling tendency. But still, like Hiranyakashipu, would the happiness come with that controlling tendency? No, because the senses are not controlled yet. Mind is also one of the senses. So as long as our senses and mind are not controlled, even if we control the people around, things around, situations around, there will be no happiness. Yeah. When we are hearing about Hiranyakashipu, we already heard right in the beginning that we have a little Hiranyakashipu in all of us. So whatever Hiranyakashipu is doing in a bigger scale like that, a little bit of that software is also present within us. So when the story is going on like that, these are the lessons that come out for us. When we see ourselves trying to control anything or anybody or any situation, then why are we doing that? Is that for happiness? Then happiness not guaranteed in that case, like in this case of Hiranyakashipu, if there is controlling that we are doing. Because the senses and mind are not controlled yet. Okay, now Hiranyakashipu's atrocities, they are continuing. And then all these demigods, as usual, as directed by Brahma, Brahma can't do anything. He gave that boon to Hiranyakashipu, so the demigods along with Brahma, they came and they are praying to the Lord. Lord in the Karnataka ocean. Shirodaka ocean. Yeah. So when they are praying to the Lord, then they heard a grave voice, so grave as cloud. And the words were so encouraging. And those words are driving away all the fear in the demigods. What are those words of the Lord? O demigods, when one is envious of you, the demigods, who represent me, the Supreme Lord, the Vedas, cows, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, religious principles, then that person and his civilization will be vanquished without delay. This is Lord Vishnu speaking. And then he continued, when Hiranyakashipu teases Prahlada, I shall kill him. That's Lord Vishnu. Yada yada hi adharmasya glavirbhavati bharata abhyudhanamaadharmasya tadatmanam shrujami. So Lord Vishnu, when the demigods heard this from Lord Vishnu, that he would appear to kill Hiranyakashipu when he teases Prahlada, then the demigods felt so assured. Then they practically took as if the Hiranyakashipu was killed. That's how they assured they felt. And then they left the place. And Sukadeva Goswami, which in turn Narada Muni to Yudhishthira, he was continuing. He's saying, now Hiranyakashipu, he returned from his tapasya and he had 4 sons. And the best among those sons was Prahlada. And he describes the qualities of Prahlada. This is the entry of Prahlad Maharaj with a glorification by Sukadeva Goswami, by Narada Muni. Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jaya. How is Prahlad Maharaj? Brahmanya Shila Sampanna Satya Sandho Jitendriyaha Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam Yeka Priya Suhruttamaha Dasavat Sannataryangrihi Pitravat Dinavat Salaha Bhratravat Sadrishe Snigdho Gurushvaishwara Bhavanaha Vidyartharupa Janmadhyo Manastambha Vivachita. Wonderful qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. He is still small, a young boy. And these are the qualities. Brahmanya Shila Sampanna. He had all the qualities of Brahmana, means mode of goodness. All the Vaishnavas, they also have the qualities of all the Brahmanas that have mode of goodness. It is implied. We are in work in progress. We will get there. All the Vaishnavas, they have the qualities of goodness. So Prahlad Maharaja, he had all the qualities of the Brahmana. Brahmana means one who is in Brahma Janati iti Brahmana, who has the knowledge of Brahman and is established in the qualities. That's Brahmana. So he has the qualities of the Brahmana. Shila Sampanna, he has all the Shila Sampanna. He is wealthy with the Shila, with the qualities of the Brahmana. Satya Sandho Jitendriyaha, he is determined to know the absolute truth. Jitendriya, and that's why he has control over his senses. Without having control over the senses, it is our journey to know the truth is not possible. So Satya Sandho Jitendriya. Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam Ekapriya Suhruttama. Atmavat, like a Paramatma. Sarva Bhutanam Ekapriya, loved by all the Bhutanam, everybody. And he is the benefactor, Suhruttama. He is Dasavat Sannataryangi. He is offering menial service to all these learned people. Pitravat Dina Vatsalaha. For Dinas, poor people, he's like showing Vatsalya as Pitra, as a fatherly affection towards all his citizens. And Bhratravat Sudrishe Snigdo. Bhratravat is brotherly affection. Sadrishe, to the equal. Having that brotherly affection to his equals. See his relationship towards different categories. And Gurushva Ishvara Bhavanaha. He considered Guru as Ishvara, the Lord himself. Vidyartha Rupa Janmadyo, he has Vidya, he has Artha, well, he has Rupa. He was a cute boy, handsome boy. Janma Adyo, he has great birth, but still Manastamba Vivarchitaha. He has no pride. He is devoid of pride in spite of him having all this. These are the qualities of Prahalad Maharaj. We wonder, how come Prahalad Maharaj is so small? He didn't get any training yet. He did not go to the school yet. He did not learn anything yet. How come all these qualities, it's basically all the Vaishnava qualities put together, including Gurushva Ishvara Bhavana. Where did this come from? Yeah? Where did this come from? These are not ordinary qualities. Prahlad Maharaja, we know that he has heard from Narada Muni when he was in the womb of his mother. That is Gurushva Ishvara Bhavanaha. He heard with such a submission, such a faith in the words of Narada Muni that is coming towards him, and of course his mother too, but he was so much absorbing everything that Narada Muni has to say. Like the sponge absorbs everything when it is put in a liquid. So Prahlad Maharaj was with such submission and such absorption, drank all the words of Narada Muni. When drank with his ear, in a way that it went to his heart. And so that is Gurushva Ishvara Bhavanaha. He considered all the words that are emanating from the Guru as those of Ishvara. Gurushva Ishvara Bhavanaha. And as a result, what happens? Everything else happened. All these qualities. The same thing, where does it come? Same Prahlad Maharaja. In the prayers of demigods, in those cantos, in the description of Brahmanda, where the prayers of, when in the description of Jambudvipa, the prayers of the demigods in the Jambudvipa, there the Varsha is there. One of the Varshas is Harivarsha. There Prahlad Maharaj was offering prayers. And in one of those prayers, Prahlad Maharaj was saying, what was he saying? Yeah. Yasya asti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. Sarvair gunair tatra samasate suraha. Sarvair gunair tatra samasate suraha. Yatra asti, wherever asti is there, bhakti bhagavati akinchana. The Lord's devotion. When there is akinchana bhakti, akinchana is, there is no other shelter, exclusive shelter of the lotus feet of Lord. Complete shelter of the Lord. That is akinchana bhakti. Not holding on to anything else outside, but holding on to Bhagavan only. that is akinchana bhakti. Complete shelter, total submissiveness. So, in that total sharanagati, complete shelter bhakti, when somebody performs that kind of bhakti, yasya asti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana, then sarvair gunair tatra samasate suraha. All the gunas of the demigods will come and reside in him. When somebody is performing what kind of bhakti? Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate. That kind of bhakti. Ananyas chintayanto mam. There is no other chinta. There is no other thought. Only Bhagavan, Govinda. That kind of akinchana bhakti, with total surrender, when somebody performs, then all the demigod qualities of the demigods will come and reside. These are the words of Prahlada Maharaja in that 5th canto. And what else? What else? Is there something that Acharyas also said? Because whatever Acharyas say is from the Shastra, from this Mahabharata. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Sharanagata Bhakta Mukhya Lakshana. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur also said that. And Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kuri, Swaparshada Sviyadama Saha. There. Atyanta Durlabha Prema Karibalidan. Shikaye Sharanagati Bhakatera Prana. This Sharanagati is the prana of the Bhakta. It's actually the life of the Bhakti. Sharanagati. Yeah. And then the Angas of Sharanagati, he explains. What we are trying to understand here is that is Bhakti. When also in the Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter, in the purport also, Srila Prabhupada explains that when this quality of Sharanagati is there, then all the qualities will come. There is no separate effort needed for other qualities of the Vaishnava when the quality of Sharanagati is there. These are the teachings. Yeah? And if we do not see ourselves there, or if these teachings are not so much accessible to us yet, then we try our best. We try to cultivate the qualities. And while we continue to hear whatever all these Mahajanas are saying, or our Acharyas saying, because we have to know there is something Bhakti, that Sharanagata Bhakti exists. That is there. We have to know. So we have to continue to hear, and then we try to do our best to cultivate sincerely, do the Bhakti. So with our efforts, with the mercy, someday we will be taken close to that. So why are we hearing all this? This is to say, Guru Shvaishwara Bhavana. With that, everything else has come. And Sharanagati Bhakta Mukhya Lakshana, and Sharanagati Prana. And Prahlad Maharaj also said, when somebody practices that Akinchana Bhakti, Ananyasyantayantomam, that kind of Bhakti, all the qualities will come. But for us beginners, if we don't see them yet, then we try to do our best as we continue to hear. Okay. That is Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah. So, and then Narada Muni continues to say, so that's how glorious Prahlad Maharaj is, that Bhakta Prahlad is. See how wonderful? This wonderful boy, this is the boy Hiranyakashipu tortured. Can you believe that? Then Yudhishthira says, whoa, that is unbelievable. When a son has all these wonderful qualities, what reason would a father have to torture him? So yes, can you please tell me more about, can you please proceed further? This is so wonderful. Please continue to proceed. Tell me more about Prahlada. What happened next? Then, now, Narada Muni continues to say, okay, this Prahlada. So far we have heard how Prahlad Maharaj, before the hero comes in, the description of the hero, right? That comes in. That is heard like that. Our devotee hero Prahlad Maharaj, before he's introduced to us, the description given by Narada Muni, we have heard that. And now, what happened to Prahlada after he is born? So, Prahlada, he was sent to school as any other children. Hiranyakashipu also sent him to school. Is there really any necessity for Prahlad to go to school? Not needed. But who knows his glorious position? He was sent to school. And in that school, as any other school or as any other subject matter, Sukracharya's disciples, Shanda and Amarka, they were the teachers. Okay? And these teachers, what are they teaching? Whatever is taught in our schools, the politics, whatever is happening in our outside world, the politics, everything that is happening in this Kali Yuga has been taught in that school. Then all that teaching was based on Swa Para. This is you and that is somebody else. Duality. Yeah. That is your friend. This is your enemy. This is you. This is somebody else. Two things. But Prahlad Maharaj doesn't belong to that breed. And for him, it is like, that's not his plate. His software is totally different here. So he was not at all interested with whatever is being taught there. Anything in regards to Swa and Para, duality, that is not what he wants to hear. So, but that education was going on. And after some time, Shanda and Amarka, they brought Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu, to his father, because they wanted to show how well they taught his son Prahlada. So that's why they brought Prahlada to Hiranyakashipu. And then Hiranyakashipu, he made Prahlada, his son, sit on his lap. And then very affectionately, he's expecting some nice words from his child. You know, anything that child speaks is really so musical for the parents, especially when they're small, right? So Hiranyakashipu is also in the same mode. And then he goes, okay, Prahlada, beta, my son, dear son, now, whatever you think is the best that you have heard so far, can you tell me that? Then Prahlad Maharaj, what does he think is the best? He has two kinds of teachers. One is a material teacher. Those are the two material teachers there. Yeah. And the other teacher, the real teacher that he already met when he was in the mother's womb, was Narada Muni. So he was just speaking what he thought was his best. What did he say? Tatsadhu manye asuravarya dehina sada samudvignadhiyam asatgriha hitvatmapatam grihamandakupam vanam gatoya harimashrayeta. He said, Tat sadhu manye, I think, O Asuravarya, O topmost Asura, for all the Dehinam, for all the embodied beings, Sada Samudvigna Dhiyam Asadgrihat, who are Sada, always Samudvigna, agitated, Dhiyam Asadgrihat, being so much entangled in this world of anxiety, who are agitated with entanglement in this asat, temporary grihat. Grihat is here, it is house. Hitvatmapatam grihamandakupam. Hitva atmapatam. Hitva is Hitva is giving away. Giving away what is good for the soul. Griham Andakupam. Andakupam is blind well. Entering deep into the blind well, giving up what is good for the soul. And in this way, Sada Samudvigna, always agitated, entangled, being in the house. Grihat is house. Here, Grihamedi. Here, Grihat is house is for the sense gratification, Grihamedi. So somebody who is always agitated with the sense gratification that is happening in the household life, while putting their Atmahitam, benefit of the soul aside, they are going deep into that blind well. Vanam gato yat harim ashrayeta. So they should be going to Vanam gato yat harim ashrayeta, to take shelter of Hari. Means go for the Vanaprastha to take shelter of the Hari. That's the last word. So he's saying this to Hiranyakashipu. Means, so you are so much stuck, entangled in this sense gratificatory life in the grihastha as a grihamedi, yeah, and it is always agitating, and there is no benefit to your soul, and it is diving deep into the blind well. So one should be going to the Vanam, to the forest, to take shelter of Lord Hari. These are the first words of Prahlad Maharaj when he opened his mouth. That too as his, as a little son to his father. His father did not expect that. What would we expect from Prahlad Maharaj? His words, there is no surprise that his words are just about Hari and of this intensity. Because Prahlad Maharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam describes, Narada Muni was describing, he was going to the school, hearing the Shanda Marka. But he was in such deep absorption of Krishna that he was laughing sometimes, he was crying sometimes, and sometimes he felt the touch of the lotus hand of Lord Hari, and he would be stunned, and tears would flow down his cheeks. And he did not know how his body was just doing his activities in the day and night, how it is being managed, how he's walking, he's talking, he's doing activities. He was not in that conscious because Prahlad Maharaj was always Govinda Parirambita, always embraced by Govinda. His consciousness, his world was exactly what was given to him by Narada Muni. Remember, he was like a sponge, absorbed everything Narada Muni has said. So when he came out of the womb, that sponge is soaked with that Adhyatma, that devotion. That was the devotion and the knowledge that was given by Narada Muni. So he was a different, we say in a good sense, a different species. He was a divine species. So that was Prahlad Maharaj's being. That was Prahlad Maharaj's existence, his thought. That was his world. What would one expect when somebody like that opens his mouth? These are the words, first words Prahlad Maharaj speaks. And then Hiranyakashipu says, oh, he just smiles. He doesn't take his words seriously because Prahlada is a little boy, he's a little boy. He says, oh, the teachers, Shanda Amalka, look at this little boy. his intelligence is spoiled by the enemy's words. Yeah. So keep a little more attention on him. Yeah. So the enemies, like the Vaishnavas, they don't come and pollute his intelligence. So, because if they come and pollute the intelligence, he will talk about my enemy Vishnu, like he just spoke. We don't want that to continue. So please pay a little more attention and then teach about our stuff. Huh? Hiranyakashipu says. Then the Shandamarka, he takes Prahlad back to the school. And then Shanda and Amarka, see, the scene is Prahlad Maharaj spoke, the words came out. Yeah, he spoke something to Hiranyakashipu. Says, and what were the words? Vanam gato yat harit ashrayeta. Go take shelter of Lord Hari. Don't go into this andakupam, blind well. Think of Atma, hitva Atmapatan. So don't be so degrading to the soul and don't enter into the blind well. Those are the words of Prahlad Maharaj. That's first scene. And then after he's taken back to the school, then his teachers are asking him, what questions did the teachers ask? They said, "Oh Balaka, oh my dear child, see, you see that you are not like every other child. You are talking different. Huh? And it looks like your intelligence is spoiled by somebody. Yeah? So, can you be honest and please tell us who spoiled your intelligence?" That's the question. And what is Prahlad Maharaj thinking? Remember, his software is completely different then. He's like a alien coming to a different planet, a planet of Maya, and he doesn't belong to this world. So when he heard that question from Shanda Amarka, what did Prahlad Maharaj say? He says, again, let me first offer my obeisances to that Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu, whose external energy is making a person think that there is an enemy and there is a friend. Okay. As he's opening the mouth, even to answer the question of his teachers, he is offering first obeisances to Lord Narayan, whose external energy is making people think like enemy and friend duality. He says that. And after that, he says, I only have heard that before, that people think in terms of friend and enemy. I have heard it from the sadhus before, when he was in the womb from Narada Muni, right? He says, I have heard this from sadhus before, that under the influence of external energy of the Lord, one would think as enemy and friend. I only have heard it before, but I'm seeing it now. So the words of Prahlad Maharaj. As if he's just in a different world and he's getting to know how people think. And he's very surprised. And he's seeing how the external energy is acting of the Lord. So his angle of thinking, because he's completely soaked, his sponge is soaked with divine water, his software is different, his perception is different. His answers to the questions are also different. And he says, Prahlad Maharaj says, after offering respects to Lord Vishnu, under whose external energy one would think of enemy and friend, he said, I have only heard that under the influence of external energy, one would think enemy and friend, but I'm seeing it now as you are saying. Okay. And he also says this. It's only with the mercy of the Lord the effect of this external energy goes away. And this thinking of enemy and friend goes away. That point also Prahlad Maharaj says. And please hear, dear devotees, it's not our personal attempts. He's clearly saying, Prahlad Maharaj, how that illusory curtain would go away. Okay? He says that. And after that, he's now answering the question. The question was, who spoiled your intelligence, right? That was the question. And Prahlad Maharaj answer is, under whose influence of external energy you are thinking of enemy and friend, that Lord has protected my intelligence, and it is under his influence I am speaking. Wow. So that is his answer. And then he says, under the influence of that Lord, I am speaking. And the next one he would say is, because of the mercy, because of the sweet will of the Lord, as an iron is attracted to the magnet, I am attracted towards him. Where is that slide? Yeah, this is the slide. So, that question, and is after Prahlad Maharaj says, under the influence of external energy, who are thinking enemy and friend, but by the grace of the Lord, sweet will of the Lord, my intelligence is saved. And this is the example. As my consciousness is attracted to Chakrapani, as the iron pieces are naturally attracted to the magnet, my consciousness is naturally attracted to Chakrapani. That's what he says. Here we are just doing Bhagavad Pravaha, saying only the highlights. But dear devotees, please read Sri Prahlada's, every word of Prahlad Maharaj in Bhagavatam. The shlokas are wonderful, and the purports are also wonderful. And especially the shloka here, that my consciousness is naturally attracted to the Chakrapani. Look at the example. How natural is it for the iron to get attracted to magnet? And in that very natural way, my consciousness is attracted to the Chakrapani. So I am under his influence. That's his answer to the teachers. So after saying those words, then he becomes quiet. When Prahlad Maharaj is speaking, he really speaks what needs to be said. And then that's it, quiet. Then Chandamarka, they get so angry. They chastise Prahlada and they say, oh, you are like a thorn in the sandalwood of demoniac family. You are like a thorn. And this thorn is acting like a handle, or the handle of axe called Vishnu to kill, to destroy the forest of demons. That's the comparison they gave. Anyways, finally, after they have to say what they have to say, they continued teaching Bhakta Prahlada about Dharmartha Kama Moksha. Would anything enter into Bhakta Prahlada? Yes? No. After some time passed, then again coming back to Hiranyakashipu. They thought everything to Prahlad Maharaj. They chastised him enough, and then grinded him with all the Dharmartha Kama Moksha. They thought so. And very confidently, they brought Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, this is the second meeting, right? Hiranyakashipu was very happy to see Prahlad Maharaj. Oh, my little son, come on, come on, come on. Yes, please, please be seated on my lap. Oh, you smell so good. And he sniffs his um, little son's hair and hugs him, and tears of affection rolls down his cheek. And then Hiranyakashipu, and then he says, okay, okay, my dear child, but now can you tell me what you have learned? Prahlad Maharaj did not open his mouth yet. But pausing here, that's the father's affection of a child, right? Hiranyakashipu's affection, all that affection was because he's my child. Okay? And what happened to Prahlad Maharaj if my child is not talking or not behaving the way I want? Yeah, because the parental affection can be for all of us. I mean, for all the species, they have the parental affection. But when the child is not meeting parents' expectation, then what would be the reaction? Remember, we said we all have our little Hiranyakashipus inside, right? So that is something to keep in mind. What is our reaction to our children if they are not meeting our expectation in their studies, in their performance, in their whatever external achievements, the standards, whatever? If they are not meeting our expectation in a way that we would like them to, then what is our behavior to them? Yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Again, we are not so demoniac as Hiranyakashipu, not so divine as Prahlad Maharaj. We are in between. But this is just to keep this in mind. When Hiranyakashipu is doing this and thinking the way he's thinking, then it is something for us to look at and see that we don't, we avoid what he's doing, what he's thinking. I don't know why the screen came up. Dear devotees. Okay, thank you, Krishna. Yeah, so that's, he asked, okay, beta, can you say? And now Prahlad Maharaj is opening his mouth for second time. These are the three verses, dear devotees. That is it, but beautiful ones. What did Prahlad Maharaj say? Can you say something now that you have learned? Oh yeah, sure. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktische Kriyete Bhagavati Yada Tanmadi Adhitam Uttamam. That's the whole shloka. The second part is really important. We know these angas of bhakti. We have heard, right? In that shloka, Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktische Navalakshanam. That part is important. And again, dear devotees, Srila Prabhupada has explained beautifully about every anga of bhakti there. How it starts with Shravanam. We have to have so much of Shravanam that our glorification should be, that will be the next stage. And then Smaranam is constantly thinking of the Lord. So all these are given beautifully in detail by Srila Prabhupada purports. And when you come to the very end of the purport, please pay attention to this subject matter. Srila Prabhupada describes this. Iti pumsa arpita Vishnu, it means iti pumsa arpita Vishnu. All these angas of bhakti, Prabhupada explains in the purport. We just don't do these angas and then offer the result to Krishna. It should be done as Arpita first. One has to offer oneself first to the Lord and then perform these actions. There's a subtle difference. Give your whole self to the Lord. Arpita, the body, mind, your whole self. Arpita, full submission, surrender, sharanagati, and then do this angas of bhakti. Yeah, that's what Srila Prabhupada explains. If somebody is just doing the bhakti, okay, I'm doing this 1 hour of kirtan, I'm doing this 2 hours of japa, and I'm giving it to Krishna. That is, I am doing this and giving the fruit result to Krishna at the end. Okay, sarvam, I have done everything, sarvam Krishna arpanam. It's not that you do everything and then give it as a fruit to Krishna. From the very beginning, you submit your whole self to Krishna and then start the action. So that is a little subtle point there, very beautifully described by Srila Prabhupada. And we must be thinking, what do we do? That Sharanagati, that Arpita, that is not naturally coming yet. Then what do I do? Yeah, then we still continue to do these angas of bhakti while we, again, it's the same thing, while we continue to hear what the Sharanagata Bhaktas are saying. What is Srila Prabhupada saying in his purport? How he's saying that you submit yourself first and do this. Do these angas of bhakti. This we have to hear again and again. Srila Prabhupada is saying, our Acharya is saying, the Prahlad Maharaj is saying here, and Prahlad Maharaj is saying in the 5th canto there. We continue to hear this. So we know, oh, this is bhakti. And then we try to do our best. Sincerely. Then we try to do sincerely. And during this process, as we bridge this gap, we want to be utsaha nischayat dhairyat. We have to have the determination and patience and enthusiasm. Okay. Do it enthusiastically with determination that you will be taken there. Yeah. With all that hope and faith, do it enthusiastically that it will happen. It is given to us and it will happen. Yes, I may not be there yet now, but it will happen. That enthusiasm, the positive outlook, enthusiasm, hopeful, do it in that mood instead of, oh, I don't see this yet. I don't get the result yet. I've been doing it. Why am I seeing this thing again in me? Instead of thinking that way, do it enthusiastically, hopefully, with determination. That is good. To simplify that even more further for practical aspect is to be in the present moment and do what is given to us as service to the Lord gratefully. Being in the present moment and doing it gratefully. Okay, this is what we want to observe during our journey as we move from this trying to do the angas of bhakti to arpita angas of bhakti. After he says that, this time Hiranyakashipu is so angry. He pushes off Prahlad Maharaj from his lap. Pushes off, he falls down the stairs and then says, what is this boy speaking? Huh? He is glorifying my enemy. Yeah. And what are you guys teaching? I asked him to teach him well and bring him back. Huh? What are you guys doing? You are like you are enemies in the friends of a garb, in the garb of a friend. And so he chastises Shanda Marka, and they say, no. Oh, Rajan, please stop. Please don't chastise us like that. This is not good for you. We are Brahmanas and we did not do this. We did not do this to your son. Your son seems to be naturally a devotee. And that's why all these things are coming out from him. So please do not chastise us. That's not going to be auspicious for you because we are Brahmanas. Hmm? And then Shri Hiranyakashipu turns towards Prahlad Maharaj. He says, if they are not teaching you about my enemy, huh, where are you getting this from? Who is teaching you? Then Prahlad Maharaj says, Matirna Krishne Paratasvato va Mitho Vipatyate Grihavratana Adanta Gobir Vishatanta Mishram Punah Punah Charvita Charvanana. Oh my goodness, Prahlad Maharaj. What is he going through? How furious is his father? And what are his words there? He is so fearless. And every word that is coming out is so, it's like a bullet. Very realized words. What is Prahlad Maharaj saying? You are asking me who taught this, huh? He's saying, Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova. The Mati is not going to be with Krishna, Parata, with somebody else helping you, Svatova, or your own efforts, Mitha, Mithobipadyate, or combined efforts. And Grihavratana, for somebody who is so much entangled with the sense gratification as a Grihamedi. And Adanta Gobir Vishatanta Mishra, because the senses are uncontrolled, Vishatamta Mishra, one is heading straight to the hellish life. Punah Punah Charvita Charvanana, is chewing the chewed again and again. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, one cannot have mati into Krishna. They cannot think of Krishna with their own efforts or with somebody's efforts to help them to think, or a combined or with the combined efforts, because their senses are so uncontrolled and they are being dragged towards the hellish life. That is why even though somebody is saying about Krishna, their mati cannot be on Krishna. It is because their senses are so uncontrolled, dragging them towards the hell. When a person is trying to squeeze happiness with their senses and with their mind, and that is heading towards hellish life, when they are busy squeezing out that happiness from the senses and mind, it is equal to squeezing out the juice from the gum that was chewed again and again and again. What will come out? Those are the words of Prahlad Maharaj. Then why is it? Why is that a person Adanta Kobir Vishatanta Mishra? Why is a person's senses uncontrolled? Because that is the reason why they are heading towards the hellish life. Why are their senses and minds so uncontrolled, dragging them to the hellish life? Then Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Nate vidusvardagatim hi Vishnum durashayai bahirattamaninaha Andha yadandhai rupaniyamanas depi shatantriyam murudam nibaddhaha. Prahlad Maharaj is saying it's because Nate vidusvardagatim hi Vishnu, because they do not know. They do not know that their swa ardhagatim, their beneficial path and goal is Vishnu, the Lord. They do not know that. Durashayaye bahirardhamaniya. Durashaya, with ambitiousness. Bahir ardhamanina. They are trying to get benefit from externally. trying to get the enjoyment from external objects. And why is this happening? Why don't they know about their own benefit, which is Lord Vishnu? And why is it that they are trying to always get enjoyment from the external objects? Anda yadhantair upaniyamanas. They are, it is like blind following the blind. And whoever these people are following, they're already blind. They are already caught up in this material world. And how? Tepi shatantram urudam nibaddaha. Isha-tantram, the ropes of the modes of nature of Isha, urudam nibaddaha, has bound them. So if somebody is following, he's saying, why is this sense gratification? It is because they do not know that their benefit is in Lord Vishnu, and they are reaching out to external things for the happiness. And it is because they are blindly following who is already blind. It means they are blindly following who is already materially entangled. Then where is the hope? How can one come out of it? This is typical of all of the major part of the human species, right? The people. Whoever has not taken up the path of devotional service, this is what has happened. This is what is happening. Then how can they get help? How can they be relieved from the rope of those modes? The last one, Prahlad Maharaj is saying. Again, we are hearing this again. We have heard this before, now hearing it. Na yesham matis tavadurukramangrim sparsyati anarthapokamo yadarthaha mahiyasham padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam prinitayavat. This is Prahlad Maharaj saying. Na isham matis tavat urukramangrim. Na, it will not happen. Isham matis tavat urukramangrim. Mind will not rest at the lotus feet of Urukrama, God. Sparshati anardapagamo yadatta. When the mind rests at the lotus feet of the Lord, then all the anardas would go away. But that will not happen. Na esha. Until Mahiyasham padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam navrinitayam. Until one padarajobhishekam is again the foot dust of who? Mahiyasham. Mahiyasham. Mahajana. A Bhagavata. Who? Who is that Bhagavata? What is his great quality? Nishkinchananam. Srila Prabhupada says has nothing to do with this material world. So that Mahabhagavata, who has nothing to do with this material world and is fully filled with Krishna, if one takes the dust from the lotus feet of that Bhagavata and does Abhishekam of that, the foot dust of the Mahabhagavata, only then this Mati Tavat Urukramangrim Sparshati, this mind will touch the lotus feet of Lord Hari, and then Anardopagamam will happen. Then, this is wonderful. This is the last one, dear devotees. The shloka is beautiful. Does it remind you of anything? King Rahuguna, he said the same thing to Jadabharta said this to King Rahuguna. Right? Rahugana yeta tapasa nayete. Nachaidya nirvipanat grihatva. Nachandasa eva jalagni surya. Vina mahatpada rajobhishekam. That's Jadavarta saying. This Prahlada Maharaj is saying. And remember the first quality that was predominant in Prahlada Maharaj, which led to other qualities. What was that? Gurushva Ishvara Bhavana. Remember Srila Prabhupada quotes again and again in the 11th canto. Yeah? Acharya Mam Abhichana. Acharya is the representation of the Lord. This is why. This is Acharya Upasana. Worshipping the Acharyas. This Pada Rajobhishekam, the foot dust of those Bhagavatas. What does that literally mean? When we heard this language of Bhagavatam, worshipping the Acharyas, take the Abhishekam of the foot dust of the Acharyas, it sounds like this is really significant. This is in the category of Bhagavan. At least that impression we are getting it, right? Some Upasana worship is happening to these Mahabhagavatas. That we are getting, right? What is that Upasana? The words that they speak, the instructions they give, they are the transmission of the spiritual world. They are the spiritual vibrations. They are like relaying what's happening in the spiritual world. So we should be seeing their Vani like that. Yeah. And Acharya Upasana means, again, this is the same thing. Where did our Prahlad Maharaj get all this? He was like a sponge absorbing everything that is coming from the Mahabhagavata, Narada Muni. He was like worshipping the words that are coming from Narada Muni, Upasana. So when our mood is also like that, whenever the Sharanagata Bhaktas speak, when we are also like sponge to take everything that comes from them, then what happened to Prahlad Maharaj after he came out of the womb? His software is different. He was living in a world that is given to him by Narada Muni through his words. So when we are hearing the words of the Acharyas like that, so much so that we will be gradually taken to their world. That is the effect of their words, Shabda Brahman, like Narada Muni. What is his effect? We are seeing in Prahlad Maharaj, like that. So when we hear throughout Bhagavatam, the foot dust of the devotees, do the Abhishek of it, Acharya Upasana, this is what it means. Yes, dear devotees, that's all. Oh, yeah, that's all. Huh? So those are the verses. That's Prahlad Maharaj. He did really speak whatever he had to speak. And then again, quiet. Prahlad Maharaj, he said what he has to say, and then quiet. Then Hiranyakashipu, he gets very angry. Okay, now kill him. Kill this boy. He is not my son anymore. You know, when the senses are uncontrolled, then like the uncontrolled senses are our enemies. This uncontrolled son is also an enemy. What is he speaking? He has uncontrolled senses, right? But anyway, those are the words of Hiranyakashipu. So, like the uncontrolled senses are enemies, this uncontrolled son is also an enemy. And when a limb is diseased, it has to be cut off, amputated. So that's why kill this boy. He is the disease to our Vamsha. Just go kill. And the orders came. Then Prahlad Maharaj, his smile on the face, even the smile is not disturbed. The peace in his eyes is not disturbed. Elephants trampling on, and the poisonous snake, and the demons torturing him. And when he was thrown off the cliff, look at Lord Narayan. how he's saving Prahlad. In all these instances, I think, which Purana is that? Sri Narsimha Purana, I think. The details of these are given even more of what all this, the Prahlada's pastimes. In all these situations, as we just discussed, nothing has changed from Prahlada. Not the smile on his face, not the peace in his eye, the mercy that flows from him, and not a bit of fear. Why like that? Totally fearless. Why? Because he's Govinda Parirambita, always embraced by Govinda. And so he saw only Govinda. When the elephant is coming, trying to trample upon him, he saw only Govinda. An elephant couldn't do that, trample on him. When the sun's poisonous snakes, when he was put in this poisonous snake, in the midst of poisonous snake, he could only see Narayana, Lord Vishnu everywhere. The snakes couldn't bite him. And whatever hurt these demons were causing was not touching Prahlada. And when he was thrown off the cliff, then Lord Narayana, he himself personally came and saved him. So he's Govinda Parirambita, Prahlada Maharaj. So Hiranyakashipu saw that he was not killed in spite of all his attempts. And he says, oh man, he's like a dog's tail. In other words, I am unable to bend that curve. I'm unable to bend this boy. And he starts having doubts on himself now, looking at Prahlad Maharaj, how he is not moved a bit. Then he was thinking, how come? What is his strength? He could just save himself by his own powers. And he's completely fearless. And his connection with Vishnu is so great that he never forgot Vishnu. He has unlimited strength. He appears to be immortal. I don't know about me. And because I'm trying to hurt him, maybe I will die. Hiranyakashipu started thinking like that. And then Shanda and Amarka says, okay, Hiranyakashipu, you don't be so disheartened. He's just a little boy now. We will somehow continue our attempts, and when he grows big, he's going to come out of this. His software may change inside. Yeah. So we'll just take him back to the school, and we'll just continue our ways. And when he grows bigger, then he'll be fine. They say that, and they take him back. What did Prahlad Maharaj do in the school? What did he say to his friends, the demonic friends? That we will hear next time. So, dear devotees, this is about whatever has happened to Prahlada, starting. This is between Prahlad Maharaj and to wind down. What have we discussed so far? Yeah, we were discussing the second part. In the first section, the second topic, the conversation between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. There, we have heard about the austerities of Hiranyakashipu and how he was awarded the boon by Brahma. There, in that context, we have heard that all these demigods, they are forced to come and give the result. Whereas in Bhakti, the Lord is not forced to give any result. Still, if we are seeing some auspiciousness happening within our lives, within us, then we want to see it as prasad, mercy of the Lord. And in that context, we have heard that we want to take every step in bhakti gratefully, not in an entitlement way of why did not I get it yet, but gratefully for whatever I have gotten so far that we have heard, because every bit of it is a prasad. And then Hiranyakashipu, he gets those benedictions, and then he starts his atrocities and all this. He controls all the demigods and all the elements also, but he was still not happy because his senses and mind was not controlled. So that's one thing that we have heard, right? If we are looking for happiness, it's not so much by controlling anything outside, but by controlling our mind and senses. And then after that, Hiranyakashipu, he continued his atrocities, and the demigods went there to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu has assured that he would come when Prahlada is teased by Hiranyakashipu. And then the description of Prahlad Maharaj, right? All the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj, how wonderful are they? There we have heard how Guru Ishvara Bhavanaha. Because Prahlad Maharaj was small. And how did he get all these qualities? Because of whatever he had heard from his Guru when he was in the womb. And the other example is, dear devotees, Hunter Mrigari. He was so cruel. He had no single good quality. But how did he become a saint that he didn't want to step on the ants also? Because he received the instruction from Narada Muni. He took the mantra from Narada Muni and he determinedly chanted the mantra, right? And then rest of all the qualities came to him. A cruel hunter has become a saint just by receiving the instruction and mantra from this saint, and then doing that mantra upasana with that full faith in the saint from in his guru Narada Muni, in his instructions, that he will be saved if he takes this mantra. So with that faith, he has done it. He has become a cruel hunter to a saintly person because he took shelter of the instruction of the mantra given by Narada Muni. That's how Sharanagati has given rise to other Vaishnava qualities. So that's one more example. Okay, and those are the wonderful qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj, he was Govinda Parirambita, and Chandamarka, he took them to Hiranyakashipu, and then first words that are spoken are just Vanam Gato Harit Ashrayata, go take shelter of Lord Hari. Hiranyakashipu was so took it lightly. He said, okay, yes, please go ahead, focus a little more on him. And Chandamarka brings him back to Prahlad Maharaj, and he then asks, who spoiled your intelligence? Beautiful words of Prahlad Maharaj again. That Lord Hari is, because of the external energy of Lord Hari, one thinks of my friend and my enemy. That thinking is because of the external energy. And the effect of the external energy can go away with the will of the Lord. And he says, with the same sweet will of the Lord, I am very much attracted. My consciousness is attracted to his naturally, as the iron is attracted to the magnet. That not okay. That is very beautiful. That we have heard that. And second time to take into Hiranyakashipu. Okay. Oh, my dear son, can you now tell me what you have heard? This is the second chance for you. He was very affectionate to his son. And there we have just paused and thought about, parental affection can be there, but when the expectations are not met, what is our choice? How do we want to be with each other? That's just a thought. Okay. Then Prahlad Maharaja says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. And there we emphasize that point that Srila Prabhupada has made in the purport, that all these angas of bhakti are to be done, arpita first, and then the angas of bhakti. If we are not there yet, okay, we do the angas of bhakti, and we continue to hear from these sadhus like this of what bhakti means. And during the journey, we want to be Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairya. Being hopeful and enthusiastically continuing. I'm not there yet, but I will be taken there, like that. So, being in that moment, present moment, and doing whatever is given to us, service to please the Lord, and being grateful. Those things we have heard. After that, the three shlokas of when Hiranyakashipu asks, how is your intelligence? Uh, or who taught you this if your teachers didn't teach you? Then sequences, these are the verses. The sequence is very good. Yeah, this one. Matirna Krishna. Once Mati cannot be, Krishna cannot be in one's Mati by one's own effort or others' effort are combined. Because Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamishram. They are, because of their uncontrolled senses, they are heading towards the hellish life. They're so busy with their uncontrolled senses, including the mind, to squeeze happiness. When somebody is so busy squeezing out happiness with their senses and mind, it is equivalent to squeezing the juice out from a chewing gum that was chewed so much again and again. Why like that? Uncontrolled senses? Because they don't know that their benefit is Vishnu, and that's why they are reaching out to external things for sense gratification. It is similar to the blind man led by blind. And all of them are being bound by the modes of the nature, by the ropes. They are bound by the ropes of these modes. Now, how to come out of those ropes? Because we are already bound. How can one who is already bound can untie himself? Somebody else from outside. Who is that somebody else? Mahiya Shampada Rajobhishekam. Nishkinchananam Navrinitayavat. That Mahat Bhakta who has nothing to do this world, zero interest with this world and completely absorbed in Krishna. When we take the food dust, their words as our food dust as our Abhisheka, their words, the Shabda Brahman. When we absorb ourselves completely with the Shabda Brahman of the sadhus, then Mati will stay at the Urukramangri, lotus feet of Urukrama. And with that sparsha, all the anarthas would go. That's the essence of this. That's the summary. So we'll pause here, and in the next class we will hear what Prahlad Maharaj taught his friends. That will be in the next class. This is all about Shri Prahlad Maharaj.